In this series of videos, I'm going to show you how to make an F1 in schools car aligned to the 2022-23 technical regulations. I'll just preface this by saying there's literally a dozen or hundreds of different ways you can go about building an F1 in schools car. This way is what I found to be the most streamlined and will help you understand the rules and make sure your car is aligned to the rules as you build it. So if you want to take different approaches, go ahead. But this is what I have found it in my time having built these things. I found this is to be probably the best way to start building your first car anyway. Now, where we're going to start when we design our car is we need to create a couple of templates. And if I scoot through this technical regulations document right at the very bottom, hopefully it'll make you sick doing this, scoot all the way down, there's a drawing of what the block looks like. So this is the balsa wood block which you have to make your car out of. Sort of makes sense that you draw up at least the profile view of what this looks like, so that you when you design your car, you know that it's going to fit on the block of wood. Plenty of times in the past I've had kids just draw cars up and then they stick out the top or out the bottom or something like that. So drawing this up as your first port of call is really handy to make sure your car meets the block regulations. So what I'd recommend we do is that I guess the block itself is pre-made. It's a pre-made balsa blocks, 225 long, 50 millimeters tall, and it's got a pre-drilled hole through the back, and there's a slot pre-cut through the bottom. The slots for your tetherline guides, you don't have to use that slot, but it's there if you want. It does help you align it if you do keep it, or part of it at least, to help you align and make sure your tetherline guide's nice and centered. The hole in the back is 52 mil. It's a 19 mil wide, so that's standard for your cylinder, like a CO2 cylinder. So what I'd recommend we start with is by drawing, I guess, this side profile view of the balsa block. Now, I'm not going to draw it exactly how it is in this drawing, and I'll explain why. So when we move across into Fusion, what we're actually going to do is we're going to start with our origin point here in the center of the cylinder housing. That will help us much later on in this process, but that's where I strongly recommend that you start your design, is from this point here. And I guess it comes down 29 mil, so it's 29 mil from the center down, and we'll move from there. So we'll jump into Fusion. I'm going to scoot across there, and got a fresh document open. I'm going to start a sketch. Now, we can draw it from the right-hand side. So from this right-hand view here, it should be right-hand up the top. There's our origin point, as I said, and that will be the center of our cylinder housing. So we're going to draw the block out this way. As I said, 29 mil down from there. 29, enter. Switch back across. So all I've drawn is from here down to there. So the block itself is 225 millimeters. Now, in the regulations, your car has to be a maximum of 210. So there's not much point drawing the entire thing. So we'll just draw it up to 210, and that way we know that we can't really build in front of that, and that will sort of force us to keep our car within the regulations. So 210 is what we're going to draw this, and then we'll draw up 50 mil. So we're across 210, just make sure it's straight, and up 50 mil. Again, make sure it's straight. We're literally just drawing the dots back to the start again. So hover over this one, you get a thin blue dotted line which comes out. Okay, so that's the side profile of the block. What we'll also draw in here is where the cylinder housing is. So, as we said before, the cylinder housing is 19 mil diameter and 52 mil deep. So we might as well draw it up with these dotted lines as well, just so consistent. So I'm just going to turn construction lines on. And to start with, I'm not actually going to, I'm just going to try and draw randomly along this line. I don't want it to lock to the midpoint like this. So when you see that little triangle pop up, you don't want to click that. Just a little bit below, just randomly at this point, and we'll tell it 52 millimeters. Enter. Then I can use a dimension tool, so sketch dimension from that line to the center point, to that origin point, is going to be 19 mil divided by 2. So I could do the maths and figure out that half of 19 is 9.5, but I don't need to. So from there, we're going to draw down 19 mil and back to make sure it's going to be straight. And so you can draw these with construction lines, or you can leave it as leave them on as solid lines. We're not actually going to use this sketch for anything to extrude anything or anything like that. It is purely here as a template, so I can look at it behind my other things and make sure my car fits on this block. The only other thing I might draw in is this dotted line through here, and this represents the top of this slot. So we'll draw that in just so we know where that is. As I said before, you might use it, you might not, but it's sort of handy to know where that is. So again, draw a line in. I don't want it to lock to anything. Straight across. D, or sketch dimension. There to there, and that's going to be 6. Okay, now that's our block. That's it. So I can hit finish sketch, and over here I'm going to click on where the arrow is and drop down our sketch. The sketch one will be there. All I'm going to do is rename this to block. Enter. So that's my first part of my template. I usually do the regulations as a separate sketch on top of this one. So start off with a couple of sketches which are a part of our template, and you can turn them on and off as you want in layers. So check out the next video for the regulations template.